Hey guys, welcome back to Karting with Chris. Today's video is going to be the rental league race here at Dallas Karting Complex. So we're going to start this video with some qualifying here, warming up our tires, making sure our tires are nice and warm for the start of this qualifying session. Kart number 13 passing us like we're sitting still. He obviously does not feel the need to warm up his tires. So for this qualifying session, we got let out of the pits pretty early. We were the first couple of karts out of the pit, so that means we've got pretty open track in front of us, so we should have a good chance to set a very fast lap here. The last couple of times I've been here, I've yet to make it to the pre-final. I've been in the LCQ every time, so for this time, my goal is just to make it into the pre-final. And the way to do that is to be the top 20 fastest drivers. So there are about 50 of us. I think it was a full class today, so there's about 50 of us here today, and the top 20 advance to the pre-final. Now, the first thing I noticed when I went out of the pits was my kart had pretty much the worst clutch I have ever heard. And coming out of the slow corners, you can really hear it. So going through this left-hander right here, I'm going to stop talking. You can just hear the clutch for yourself. So that clutch, really dying of death right there, does not sound good. If it were up to me, I would change it, put in a new one, but you can't. So we're just going to drive it to the best of our abilities. Kart number 27 on the exit of this left-hander right here, making a hash of it. We get around him, not going to let him slow me down. So one thing I did notice about this kart is that once it did get going, it actually had pretty decent top end. So it's not the worst kart in the world, but it's definitely by no means the best kart. Now, some of you have already heard this before, and some of you have experienced this, but for those of you who haven't, DKC is a very greasy track, so there tends to be a lot of slipping and sliding, especially in the league races when everyone's going off track constantly, kicking on dirt. And so that means that in order to be good at this track, you actually have to be a decent driver. So most of the times, the people at the front of the grid are usually pretty fast drivers. They're usually not the person with the fastest kart. So if you have a slow kart around DKC and you're a good driver, you can still do pretty well. It's not a total handicap. Now, looking further ahead, we can see there are 4 karts in front, and in qualifying you really don't want to be catching up to people because that's going to slow you down. It's not going to give you a good lap time. But in this scenario, this is about to be the highlight of the qualifying session, if not the highlight of the race. So watch the second kart in front. He's going to go through this left-hander and absolutely obliterate the barriers here. And we're going to freeze it right here. I mean, I don't know what's happened here. Obviously, he's got some beef with the barriers. So this qualifying session has quite literally turned into a therapy session that has not gone very well. I mean, what is happening? We can see there are bits of barrier flying into the air. It's shrapnel now. This is no longer a piece of barrier. This is shrapnel. Thank God no one was hurt, but yeah, this could have been worse. So after witnessing a near-death experience, the next kart in front decides to try it himself. Doesn't quite hit the barrier, so it was a bit of a failed attempt. And so not only did they fail the attempt, but they also lost all their momentum going down the straight here. So we end up passing them, and that was basically all that happened for qualifying. Like I said, I had a clean open track, which is good for qualifying. But my kart, like I said before, didn't have the best clutch in the world, so my lap times weren't all that great, but they were good enough for the pre-final. So we skip ahead to the pre-final race here. We qualified 9th out of the 20 people in the pre-final, so almost exactly mid-pack. We're starting on the inside, which around DKC really doesn't guarantee you any positions, so not that big of an advantage. So for the start of this race, my strategy is basically just to work off of instincts, hold it around the inside so we don't get forced out wide, and kind of just play it by ear. So we're going down the pitch straight here. Flagman waves green, we're good to go, and I instantly lose a position to kart number 11. He was in 10th place, so we drop down into 10th place, but going down the straight here, I get a bit of a run, and so kart number 11 and I are going to go side by side, but I'm going to inch forward than him. Temporarily go up into 9th, but back off. And then going through this left-hander right here, kart number 2 spins out. And then my friend Jackson right there also spins out, forcing me off into the gravel. And now we're down into 13th. So obviously, this is not the best start in the world. We're down to 13th. We've lost a total of 4 positions. Fortunately, there is really no one behind me because it did kind of pile up back there, so I don't have to worry about too many people from behind. I can focus all my time and energy on trying to catch up to the people in front and just passing them. At this point, I'm a little frustrated that this has happened, and you never want to drive frustrated, so I got to try and keep my cool, keep a level head, and just keep my head down. So coming out the chicane here, fortunately, the 2 people in front pushed each other out wide, and so we passed 2 people instantly. Going through this right-hander right here, someone has spun it on the apex. We gain another position, so we lost 4 positions at the start. We've gained 3 of them back almost instantly, so at this point, we're looking for a decent result here. We're definitely going to gain some positions if this trend continues. So for this race, unlike qualifying, I had a kart with a functioning clutch, so coming out of the corners, it wasn't making loud noises, it was actually accelerating. So for this race, I shouldn't have any excuses kart-wise as to why I shouldn't have a decent position. It's all driver now, so we're going to put our head down. We can see there is a decent-sized group up ahead. Kart number 5 going through these next couple of corners a little sideways. It's not going to help him. So we're going to try and catch up as fast as possible. Try and pass them as quickly as possible. Usually when karts are bunched up like this, they tend to fight a lot. And so sometimes it's better to just kind of chill and watch the race happen and kind of just go around everyone taking each other out. So for the time being, I'm just going to try and learn, see the types of driving style on offer here and try and figure out the best way to pass them. So going through the chicane here, we're going to see kart number 5 and kart number 7 up ahead kind of get offline here. And so you can see me really catch up to them going down the straight here, taking a slow and fast out approach through the chicane. Through this right-hander up ahead, kart number 7 goes a little wide, and so kart number 5 looks for the outside, but that's never going to work, and I know that, so I'm going to follow kart number 7, kind of push him through the corner here. We move up into 9th place. Kart number 7 gets a horrible exit, and so down the straight here, I get a better exit. We move up into 8th place now, so gaining 2 positions. We're up into 8th. We started 9th, keep in mind, so we're in the green now. Hopefully the 2 in front do not try and instantly pass me back, because that would not be good for me. So I look behind me. They are right on my bumper, so I'm hoping they don't send it through this next couple of corners. They don't. Going through this left-hander right here, I kind of missed the apex. They poke their nose by me, and so going through this left-hander, I have to give them space on the inside. You can see them right there. But through the right-hander, I've got the inside, so I'm going to park it on the apex, and they're going to bump me from behind. That's going to ruin their momentum, transfer it over to me, and it allows me to pull away. So now I am still in 8th place, but now I'm a little bit further ahead, and I don't have to worry about them trying to pass me back. So we skip ahead to lap 4. We've now caught up to this group of 3 up ahead, and we can see kart number 3 has kind of fallen behind the 2 in front, and actually going through this left-hander, he gets a pretty poor exit, and so going down the straight into the chicane, I get a better exit, I get a good run, and so going into the chicane, I look for the move, kind of just poke my nose by him. Don't quite go side by side, kind of just trying to force him offline here. Doesn't quite work out. Going through this right-hander up ahead, I don't like to go for moves here. It tends to be very slippery here, and you can easily spin out, so don't go for the move. Kart number 3 actually getting a better run coming out of that corner than me. And then through this left-hander right here, I accidentally turned in a little early, and so coming out of the corner, dipping a wheel. And so this is not good. Before those 2 corners, I was right on number 3's bumper, and now you can see I've lost about half a second to him. So yeah, when you're trying to make your way through the pack, top tip, don't mess up. Now, I wasn't too worried about them pulling away from me. I felt like I had a decent amount of pace, so I felt that I could catch up to them, but also they were fighting a lot throughout this race. The 3 in front were fighting constantly, and I think the person at the front of this group in 3 was defending a lot, because I don't think he had the best kart in the world. So you can see kart number 3 passing number 11, so that's going to slow them down, put 11 offline. So now I'm back within this group of 3, so yeah, I did mess up those last couple of corners back there, but it didn't matter in the end because I've caught up. Obviously, I would have liked to have passed them sooner rather than later, but it is what it is. Going down the straight here, kart number 11 not getting the best of runs, and so I kind of thought about going for the move through the chicane, but it would have been a late move. Thought better of it. Coming out of the chicane, I do get a decent exit, but like I said, I don't like to go for moves through this right-hander unless it's absolutely necessary. Tends to not be a lot of grip on the inside line. And so I usually go for moves on the left-hander following the right-hander. But unfortunately, cart number 11, he did get a poor exit, but it kind of ruined my momentum as well, almost banged into the back of him. Thought about the move through the left-hander, almost poked my nose through, but didn't go for it in the end. The two in front battling it out like crazy, going side by side, almost pushing each other off the track. Coming through the last corner here, we can see the flagman's waving halfway to go. Two in front are still going side by side, going through the first corner here. All mayhem is kicking off. Like I said, these guys are battling it out. I'm just going to try and sit back, kind of just read this race. If they're going to take each other out, just drive around them. So going through this left-hander up ahead, I notice we're pretty close to each other. We're all very jumbled up, and so going through this right-hander up ahead, I kind of back off a little because I know they're all going to pile up on the inside. It's going to ruin their exit. And so exiting this right-hander, going to this left-hander, you're about to see the definition of a dive bomb as I absolutely send it on cart number 11 here. Wasn't anywhere near him, but I definitely pressed the send button regardless. We move up into 7th place. Honestly, not my finest driving. I've definitely done better moves, and cart number 11 probably agrees with me because coming out of the exit of the chicane here, he kind of pushes me out wide. I don't think he was too happy with that move, and so he regains 7th place. I'm not upset with cart number 11 pushing me out wide there. Like I said, I definitely deserved it. It was a late move, to say the least, but we're down into 8th place now. Kind of getting a little frustrated. We've been stuck in 8th for quite some time now. I just want to get past these 3 people. We're about to end lap 6, start of lap 7, so there's not a lot of laps left in this race. You see the 2 in front are kind of pulling away. Cart number 11 kind of straggling behind. See going sideways through that last corner back there. So I want to get around number 11 so the 2 in front don't pull away. So going down the straight here, right on his bumper. He's fully aware. He's looking behind him a lot. I'm not going to go for the move through this right-hander up ahead, but through the left-hander following, he goes out a little wide, and so that's my chance. I poke my nose in. I've got the inside for this left-hander right here. He gives me the space. Going through this right-hander over here, I'm just going to hold it around the outside, and we move up into 7th place. So good racing from cart number 11. I definitely redeemed myself by passing him a little more cleanly there. And props to him, he definitely gave me enough room, so good racing. So we can see the 2 carts in front have pulled a bit of a gap in front of us, courtesy to myself and cart 11 battling a little bit, but they were battling a lot as well. So hopefully that trend continues and we catch up to them because there aren't a lot of laps left in this race. And at this point, I'm thinking the 2 in front, that's as good as it gets. So the cart in front is 6th, and then the cart in front of that is P5. So if I play my cards correctly, I'm thinking I can get a P5. So going down the straight here, we're about to finish lap 7, start lap 8. For some reason, they gave us 9 laps for this race. I don't know. DKC tends to not count laps very well. So we see the flagman waving 2 to go. And fortunately, we see the 2 in front continuing to battle it out as I look behind me, making sure cart number 11 is not close enough to go for the move, and he's not. So I don't have to worry about cart number 11 for the rest of this race. I noticed he was a fair bit behind me. So I can see the 2. They are going side by side, and they are going quite slow. This has brought me back into the race. Now, sadly, my dumbass forgot to empty out the SD card before entering this race. So going into this race, my SD card was almost full, and by this point in the race, it had become completely full. And so I did not get any of the last lap. So I caught up to the 2 in front, and on the last lap, we were fighting it out, and I eventually did pass them. And unfortunately, I got none of it on video. So we did end up finishing the pre-final in 5th place, but sadly, it was not recorded. Now, unfortunately, the news does not get better because at the end of the pre-final, I swapped out my SD card for a SD card with more storage. And so for the final, I went to hit my GoPro, it turned on, and it started recording, but it only recorded for about 20 seconds of the final. then it shut off, and I don't know why it shut off. It just shut off for some reason. So all I have of the final is this warm-up lap, a small portion of the warm-up lap, and then it turned off. So I don't know what happened. I've fixed the issue since, but yeah, I don't know why it did that. So I started the final in 5th place. I ended up in 6th. It was actually a well-fought battle for 5th place the whole time, and unfortunately, I didn't get any of it on video. But we started in 9th, dropped down into 13th at the beginning, worked our way up to 5th, and ended up walking home in 6th place. So overall, pretty pleased with that result. Not too bad. Set a pretty decent lap time as well. Pretty happy with that result. Obviously, could have been better, but that's all I'm going to have for today. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing. If you have any questions, suggestions, or opinions, please do comment below. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day.